Low carb, high fat macros. Let's talk about it. And why would you do low carb, high fat as opposed to, let's say, carnivore with fruit? Let's get into it. Welcome, everyone. I was going to do a video about the gallbladder, but I was looking at the comments and I realized that a lot of people just don't understand why anyone would do a low carb, high fat. Like, what does that mean? Is it better to do a carnivore, a well-formulated carnivore ketogenic diet? Well, let's start with a ketogenic diet, which is high fat, low carbohydrate. These carbs are going to come from mainly cruciferous vegetables: broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, a little bit of zucchini. Some people can tolerate a little bit of yellow squash, but typically that makes your blood sugar spike. So mainly cruciferous vegetables with protein and with fat, and fruits like olives, maybe a little bit of coconut cream, and avocados. If you have no thyroid problem, perhaps a wee bit of tomato. On a ketogenic protocol, you can also have olive oil, but that doesn't make you ketotic. It's just for pleasure. Avocado oil, but really olive oil and avocado oil, it's very hard to find like pure avocado oil and pure olive oil. It's normally mixed with canola oil, so whatever's. But yeah, your olive oil on a salad, for example. And salad greens count, even spinach, if you do it very seldomly with the high oxalate spinach. But your main fat is always going to be animal fat. And the reason why that is because the fatty acid profile between monounsaturated, saturated, and polyunsaturated are very similar to a human, whereas avocado and olive oil are primarily monounsaturated fats, which we are not made out of primarily mono. A well-formulated carnivore diet is going to look like this: fatty meats, potentially rendered fats. I say that because most people don't. They typically think of a carnivore diet being like ground beef and ribeyes, but it can include added fat, which is more trending the last couple of years rather than, let's say, 7 years, 8 years ago. People are just doing mainly like steaks and things of this nature. Sometimes bacon, sometimes eggs, but mainly ground beef and ribeyes. Now we've learned how important it is to add organ meats or shellfish for your vitamins and minerals. Yeah, I always compare a ketogenic diet and a carnivore diet is pretty much the same diet, because the point is to drive ketosis. You should not ever be doing a meat-based diet, meaning no carbs, no starches rather, if the fats aren't high and the protein is moderate to low to drive ketosis. Things like snake diet, where they're trying to get their electrolytes from meat, like all of that's absurd. Okay, so on any low carb protocol, low carb, high fat, keto, carnivore, snake, lion, your electrolytes really have to be monitored, because in nature we would not be eating this way. So we have to make sure that we get enough magnesium and enough potassium and sodium. Okay, low carb, high fat. That is going to include, let's get into the low carb, high fat. It's going to include carbs. Mainly you want to do low carb, like sweet potato, parsnip, a little bit of yucca, pumpkin, and people who have a histamine response to those plants might do small amounts of jasmine rice as your starch. Now, you can't get into ketosis on a low carb, high fat diet. Nope. But the point is to have lower in carbs. So what would that look like? the standard American person who eats carbs eats around 200 milligrams of carbohydrates. We're going to take it down to about 100, 80 to 100. They would do 200 to 300, people who are doing this SAD diet. So we're going to do about an 80 to 100 and have that every 3 hours throughout the day, the daytime day. So from when you wake up until you go to bed. And this is because you are trying to get, there's my stupid computer, glycogen storage going, right? We want to feel glycogen storage. You have a little bit higher in fat, so the lungs, for the brain, for your reproductive hormones, cholesterol, that is really, really important for overall health, but we are not trying to drive ketosis doing low carb, high fat. Why would anybody do a low carb, high fat diet? Some people feel that there's not enough variety on a meat-based diet. Some people feel like their gallbladder is so junked up, or the lack of a gallbladder is preventing them from doing a high-fat keto or carnivore diet. Some people have dysglycemia so bad they just keep becoming or developing, worsening, unfortunately, hypoglycemia. And the last is a lot of people's thyroid begins to tank. Now, it's not the diet, it's the fact that you're not getting into ketosis. You cannot rely on protein for energy because you can't eat a steak and store glycogen. And then comes the fruit and carnivore diet, which is the dumbest thing. If you're going to have anything that's going to convert into glucose into your blood at a higher level, just do low carb, high fat and put a starch in there and not fructose, because a lot of people have raised liver enzymes, junked up liver. They've got estrogen dominance, which is clogging up their liver, which clogs up the biliary duct system, and they have worsening side effects. They feel better for the moment, but then their adrenals tank because fruit is not going to store glycogen as well as protein. They both cannot. So let's do part 2. Comment below, and I'll go more into low carb, high fat macros, and the protein. The protein is going to be the same on all of these diets, moderate to low. We're driving insulin sensitivity. Now the carbohydrate amount and the fat amount on low carb, high fat changes. The protein remains the same. Comment below, share this content. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. And I'm out because it's getting late. And boy, today was a day. I had a troll on my Instagram, which is Stephanie Ketogenic, and she was just complaining. You show your horse Rohan too much on camera. You give him too much attention. That's abusive to your other animals. I was like, oh, I didn't know you knew me. I mean, you could just view my whole life through IG stories. It's a very interesting place existing on the internet. You gotta be strong. My Facebook fan page is Stephanie the Business Person. If you guys feel like you need help, you can book a consultation through stephanieperson.com. Also, I have a course, which is a monthly subscription, stephanieperson.com. And I'm out. Energy. 57, around the corner 58, and then 59 and 60.